It was a cold February night when Jassy Correia, a vibrant 23-year-old mother, found herself alone on the streets of Boston. What should have been a joyful birthday celebration turned into a nightmare. After a heated argument with her friend, she was left stranded, barefoot, without a ride, and vulnerable. It was the kind of situation where we all hoped for the kindness of a stranger. But for Jassy, trusting the wrong person would seal her fate. She approached an Uber driver, hoping he would help, but he turned her away, desperate and alone. She had no idea that she was being watched. At 2:16 a.m., a man named Louis Coleman III saw her distress. He stepped forward, offering help, and in that moment, Jassy made a tragic mistake. She trusted him. She was never seen alive again. Her family's worst fears came true when she didn't return home. Jassy's father, devastated, pleaded with the public for information, knowing deep inside that something was horribly wrong. As the hours passed, the search for Jassy intensified, and police began piecing together the timeline of her disappearance. Security footage would soon reveal the horrifying truth: a well-planned abduction and an unspeakable crime that would shock the entire community. Jassy Correia, a bright young woman with big dreams, born in February 1996 in Praia, Cape Verde, Jassy Correia moved to the U.S. at just 3 years old. She was raised in Boston, where she embraced the opportunities her family had worked hard to provide. She was full of life, optimistic, and determined to create a bright future for herself and her young daughter, Gabriella. Jassy kept a notebook filled with personal goals and aspirations. It was a testament to her ambition and resilience. On the cover, she had written, "Life is my favorite adventure." Inside, she had carefully mapped out her dreams: applying for jobs, spending more time with family, and studying for tests. Determined to pass no matter what, she also filled the margins with motivational reminders to herself: "You've got this. You can do it." Despite experiencing poverty and needing assistance from social workers, Jassy never let her hardships define her. She was working as a hostess at a Boston restaurant while searching for better opportunities. More than anything, she wanted to provide a stable future for Gabriella, who was only 2 years old at the time. But beneath her strong and independent exterior, Jassy had experienced trauma that few knew about, especially from the father of her child, Miguel Castro. A history of abuse, the threat she thought she escaped. Jassy's relationship with Miguel Castro had been anything but peaceful, though it remains unclear how they met. The signs of trouble surfaced early. By January 2018, when their daughter was just a year old, things took a terrifying turn. One night, in a desperate text message to Miguel's mother, Jassy pleaded for help. "You need to help me. Miguel won't let me leave. Don't call him. He'll kill me." She attached a photo of herself, her face swollen, her nose broken, and her eye socket fractured. Miguel's mother immediately called 911. When police arrived, they found Jassy hiding under the stairs, barely able to speak. She had been beaten after Miguel became jealous. Suspecting she was texting another man, Miguel was arrested and charged with kidnapping, assault, battery, and witness intimidation. He was sentenced to 4.5 to 5 years in prison, along with 3 years of probation. He was also ordered to stay away from Jassy permanently. With Miguel behind bars, Jassy might have finally felt safe. She focused on getting her life back on track, finding stable housing, securing childcare for Gabriella, and scheduling job interviews. But just when she was trying to rebuild her life, a new and even more sinister threat was lurking: the birthday celebration that led to disaster. Jassy's 23rd birthday was on February 26, 2019, but she planned to celebrate the weekend before. On Saturday, February 23rd, she arranged to go out with her friend Asia while Gabriella stayed with Miguel's mother. That morning, she met up with another friend, Mia, at her apartment in Dorchester. They spent the day shopping, and Jassy picked out her outfit for the night: a stylish orange jumpsuit, black high heels, and a denim jacket with wings on the back. She planned to stay at Mia's apartment after the night out, leaving most of her belongings, including her house keys, behind. Later that night, Asia and her friend Reggie picked up Jassy and Mia, and they headed to Venue, a nightclub in downtown Boston. By the time they arrived, the party was already in full swing. The friends drank champagne and tequila before hitting the dance floor, enjoying what should have been an unforgettable birthday celebration. But things took a turn when Mia and Jassy got into an argument. No one knows exactly what sparked the tension, but the fight lasted until the club closed at 2 a.m. A fatal decision, left alone in the cold after leaving the club. The group walked through an alley toward the parking garage. Jassy, tired of wearing heels, handed them to Asia to carry. CCTV footage captured a concerning sight, Nia repeatedly pushing Jassy as their argument escalated. Asia and Reggie urged Jassy to leave Nia behind and come with them. But she refused. She wasn't upset, just worried about her friend's safety. In the end, Asia and Reggie left, accidentally taking Jassy's shoes with them. Nia also walked away, leaving Jassy standing alone in the cold, barefoot, and vulnerable. That was the last time her friends saw her alive. Nia woke up the next morning to an empty apartment and was immediately worried. Jassy hadn't returned. Repeated calls to her phone went unanswered. Over the next 2 days, her friends and family frantically tried to reach her, but there was nothing. By the afternoon of February 26th, Jassy's actual birthday, her father reported her missing. The CCTV footage that revealed the chilling truth. Police wasted no time retracing Jassy's last movements. Thanks to the extensive network of surveillance cameras in the area, they quickly found footage of her after Nia left. The heartbreaking video showed Jassy spotting an idling Uber and approaching the driver. She asked if she could hire him using her app, but he refused. He wanted a more profitable ride. She tried to get in, but the driver pushed her out. She fell onto the sidewalk. Then, at exactly 2:16 a.m., a man appeared, Louis Coleman III. He approached Jassy and held her hands, talking to her for nearly a minute. She looked around, perhaps hoping to see Nia or another familiar face. But there was no one. Vulnerable, intoxicated, and alone, she made the tragic decision to trust him. CCTV captured them walking together, then showed Coleman giving her a piggyback ride, likely because her feet were freezing. Moments later, she got into his car, unaware that she had just sealed her fate. What happened next would unravel a horrifying story that no one could have predicted. The man she trusted, who was Louis Coleman III? As investigators dug deeper into Jassy's disappearance, they focused on the man she was last seen with, Louis Coleman III. He wasn't just a random passerby. He was a highly educated, well-spoken individual with no prior criminal record. This made his crime even more chilling. Coleman was a 32-year-old California native who had once been a model student. He earned a degree in engineering from the University of California, Santa Cruz, and later worked as a civilian contractor for the U.S. Navy in Rhode Island. His LinkedIn profile painted the picture of a successful, well-adjusted man. But behind closed doors, something much darker was lurking. Investigators soon discovered disturbing details about Coleman's life. His internet history revealed an obsession with violent pornography, bondage, and extreme dominance. In the weeks leading up to Jassy's murder, he had been searching for ways to restrain and harm women. He had also purchased a large suitcase, one that would soon play a sinister role in this case. This wasn't an impulsive crime. It was premeditated. Coleman had been hunting for a victim. And tragically, Jassy was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was vulnerable, alone, and desperate for help, and he took full advantage of that. The horrifying discovery at Coleman's apartment. As police traced Coleman's movements, they tracked him to his apartment in Providence, Rhode Island. What they found inside was beyond disturbing. Surveillance footage from his apartment building showed him arriving around 3:30 a.m., just an hour after picking up Jassy. He parked in the garage, then struggled to carry her lifeless body into the elevator. The footage showed her feet dragging on the floor. She was already unconscious or dead. Inside his apartment, police uncovered a chilling scene. Bloodstains were found on the couch, the walls, and the floor. A rope, duct tape, and zip ties were scattered around the room. Even more horrifying, his search history revealed that he had been researching how to preserve a body. It was clear he had no intention of getting caught. But the most damning evidence was found in his closet, a large red suitcase. Inside was Jassy's body. She had been strangled, and her cause of death was ruled as homicidal violence. Coleman had planned to dispose of her remains, but he ran out of time. By the time police closed in, he was already on the move. The interstate manhunt, tracking a killer by February 28, 2019. Just 2 days after Jassy's family reported her missing, an interstate manhunt was underway. Police had traced Coleman's license plate to Delaware. He was on the run, driving south on I-95 in an attempt to escape justice. State troopers were given strict orders: find Coleman, stop him, and bring him in alive. Finally, in Wilmington, Delaware, they spotted his car and pulled him over. What they saw inside was horrific. Jassy's body was still in the suitcase, wrapped in plastic and covered with baking soda, an amateur attempt to mask decomposition. Police immediately arrested Coleman and transported him back to Boston, where he would face murder charges. At that moment, Jassy's family received the news they had been dreading. Their daughter, sister, and mother of a young child were gone. The tragedy shattered her community, leaving everyone questioning how such a bright life could be taken so cruelly. The trial, bringing Coleman to justice in 2022. After years of legal delays, Coleman finally faced trial in a Boston courtroom. Prosecutors laid out the gruesome details of the case, showing the jury evidence of premeditation, abduction, and murder. The most damning piece of evidence was the security footage. There was no denying what had happened. The defense attempted to argue that Jassy had died accidentally, claiming that she had consensually gone with Coleman and that her death was not intentional. But the overwhelming evidence, his internet searches, the rope and duct tape, the state of her body, made it clear that this was no accident. The jury took little time to reach a verdict: guilty. Coleman was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Jassy's family, it was a small comfort to know that her killer would never walk free. But no sentence could ever bring back the bright, loving woman they had lost. A motherless child, the impact on Jassy's daughter. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of all was what Jassy left behind: her 2-year-old daughter, Gabriella. Too young to understand the horrors of what had happened, she was suddenly without the one person who loved her most. Jassy's family stepped in to raise Gabriella, ensuring that she would always know who her mother was. They kept her memory alive with pictures, stories, and reminders of the vibrant woman who had fought so hard to provide for her. But no amount of love could replace Jassy. Gabriella had been robbed of her mother's warmth, laughter, and guidance. One day, she would grow up and learn the truth, a truth that would haunt her forever. A lesson in safety. The tragic reality women face. Jassy's story is not just a tragic crime, it's a wake-up call. It highlights the dangers women face daily, especially when alone and vulnerable. How many times have we trusted the wrong person, thinking they were kind? How many times have we found ourselves in situations where one bad decision could change everything? Jassy's case reminds us of the importance of safety precautions. Always have a backup plan. If you're going out, make sure you have a way home. Never leave a friend behind. Arguments happen, but no one should ever be left alone at night. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Jassy didn't do anything wrong. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's the scariest part. Her story is a heartbreaking reminder that evil exists in places we least expect it. And sometimes, the people who seem like saviors are actually predators in disguise. Honoring Jassy's memory. Jassy Correia's life was cut short, but her memory lives on. Her family continues to fight for justice, advocating for women's safety and awareness. They have turned their grief into action, ensuring that no other family has to endure the same pain. A mural in her honor was painted in Boston, a reminder of the bright, ambitious woman taken too soon. Her name has become a symbol of resilience, a call to protect and support one another in an unpredictable world. Though Jassy is gone, her story continues to impact lives. It serves as both a warning and a tribute. A warning that evil can lurk in unexpected places. A tribute to a mother, daughter, and friend who should still be here today. May we never forget Jassy Correia. May we all strive to create a world where no one else suffers the same fate.